Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy. Welcome back to another video. So today we are going to be talking about Secret Invasion again. Welcome back to Secret Invasion Saturday. This is episode 3. Today we're going to be talking about episode 3 of Secret Invasion. And I want to go ahead and right off the bat and say that I currently have a weird trend going on where I have a thumbnail that is like a theory that I think that is coming up for the next episode that instantly gets proved wrong. My first one, if you go back and you look at it, I have a picture of Nick Fury and a picture of Gravitz, and I said related question mark because I had the theory that I thought that Gravitz was going to be proved to be Nick Fury's son, and that it was going to be a really big, interesting reveal because apparently Nick Fury had a son with a scroll, and it was going to be like, oh my god, what? And then 5 minutes into episode 2, Gravitz got revealed to have been already around and alive and kicking it back when Nick Fury first found out the scrolls existed. But Nick Fury does have a wife that is a scroll, which is kind of a cool thing, which was like, oh my god, I kind of had somewhat the right idea. And then another thing that I want to go ahead and talk about is the second episode. I had this thought in the Black Widow movie and in the Captain America Winter Soldier movie, they have this device which is like a shape-shifting device. You put it on your face and it makes your face look like somebody else's face, and it's absolutely changing, you know, the game a little bit. It makes it where some of our human characters can be scrolls right now, and it's kind of a big thing, and it'll be like, oh my god, what the hell is happening kind of thing. And I think it'd be really interesting if they use that technology at some point in the show to kind of like trick people out and be like, everybody who thinks Rhodey is a scroll, what if Rhodey's not a scroll? Actually, he's just a regular person, but it's somebody pretending to be Rhodey instead, and it's just like a triple cross thing. I don't know. I think it'd be really interesting, but specifically for that twist, I was expecting in the scene where it's what's it called? Where it's Ben Mendelsohn, Talos, and he's sitting across the table from Gravitz, and then something happens, and then all of the people stand up, and they're all turning into Gravitz. I thought that it was Nick Fury in that scene, and it actually wasn't Talos, and I ended up being proven completely wrong about that. So that was very interesting. I was not happy to figure out that I was wrong about that. But I think it's funny now, though, that both of my thumbnails, if you look back at it after watching the future episodes, it's like, well, he was wrong about that, and he was wrong about that. So today, my thumbnail, if you were looking at it and you're like, why the hell did he do that? It's because I know it's probably going to be proven wrong immediately next episode, but I do not care. I'm sticking with my guns here. I don't think Rhodey's going to be proven to be a scroll in this show. The only reason I'm saying this is because everybody and their mamas thinks that Rhodey's going to be a scroll in this show, and I think it'd be more interesting if he actually is proven not to be a scroll, and instead he's just a dick. No, I'm kidding. I actually have a different theory that I'm going to get into. So, here's the thing, right? Scrolls are kind of like the big selling point of the show. A bunch of people are scrolls. A bunch of people are going to be revealed to be scrolls, and scrolls are pretending to be higher up people in the government, and they're going to control world governments and try to take down the world and create World War III. And I think that that's really interesting, right? I think that that's great. Good for you. Do whatever you want to do with that. But I feel like as of this point, we are halfway through the show, and there's a lot of things that should have been done by now that have not been done. And I'm not gonna say I think that the show is going a little too slow because I like the dialogue. I like that it's a very dialogue-driven show instead of an action-driven show. But I also feel like there's a lot of cards on the table, and all of them are still face down. And I feel like at this point in the game, there should be one or two cards that have been flipped up, and there are some questions that should have been answered by now that haven't been answered. So I kind of want to start with that. So right off the bat, I want to go ahead and discuss something that happened in episode 1 that I'm still annoyed about, that they still have not retconned or answered or explained anything about it. The opening scene between Prescott and Everett Ross, it still means nothing. Like, that was a 5 minute long scene. It was a lot of action. It was a great job to kind of set up this little, oh my god, there's a bunch of things going on. What's going on? We're so confused. What's happening right now? And we still have nothing. Like, literally, if you go back and you watch that first, like, 10 minutes or whatever, a lot of the stuff that happens in that kind of seems like it was just stuff to kind of, like, fluff up that episode and make the first episode have a little more action sequences in it, because we still have no idea how long Everett Ross was a scroll. We still don't know why Everett Ross was being replaced as a scroll. We still don't know what that device that what's his face had was. We still don't know like anything that's going on behind the scenes with the scroll stuff. And like there's a lot of information that's kind of like being slid under the table. And I understand why they're trying to keep it a secret. They're trying to keep it like a mysterious thing because certain characters aren't allowed to know things. But I feel like part of the reason why spy espionage things work really well in movies and TV shows is you can give some of the details to the viewers and we will know things before the people who are in the show knows things. But at the moment, they're doing kind of the opposite, where Nick Fury knows stuff that we, the audience, don't know yet. And so when it's a big reveal to us, he's going to have already known it because he was 10 steps ahead. And I like that, and I think it does a great job of showing that Nick Fury is a great spy. But at the same time, it's kind of annoying because there's some stuff that's happening, and they're sliding it under the table. We're not seeing it. We don't know really what's going on. And when it makes this big reveal, you're going to spend too much time focusing on, oh my God, there's that big reveal, that you're probably going to miss some important stuff that's happening. So, and yeah, maybe that's the point, is they're trying to like kind of do like misdirection stuff like that. But at this point, it just feels like it's underdeveloped stuff, and that they're trying to kind of shoehorn as much stuff into the beginning of this show so that when big stuff happens later on, it's a bigger deal. And I like it, but at the same time, I'm starting to see the trend that this is probably going to be like some of the other Marvel Disney Plus shows where they try to do too much in the first 4 episodes, and then by the time they get to the halfway point of episode 5, they have so much stuff that still needs to be done, and it's just going to be rushing to a conclusion. And then in the final episode, we're going to get that conclusion about the 30-minute mark, and then there's going to be 10 minutes of setting up things for future projects. And I'm not liking that. I'm a little worried that at this point in the show, we should know more about what the Skrulls' endgame is. We should know a little bit more about like why Nick Fury just seems to like, he seems to know what's going on, but he also seems to have no idea what's going on. And I don't like the fact that we don't know what Nick Fury knows. And I really wish that like we could understand, does he know what's going on? Is he clueless? Is he in the dark? Does he have a better idea than he's letting off? Because a lot of times it kind of seems like he really knows nothing. And when he played the game with Talos and they played that little tell me something I don't know game, it's implied that he already knew that there were a bunch more Skrulls on Earth, but it doesn't explain like how he knew that. It doesn't explain why he knew that. And he was up in Saber at the beginning of the show, and supposedly by the end of the show he's probably going to be back up at Saber because he's in it in the Marvels trailer. But what confuses me about it is, what is Saber? What is the purpose of Saber? Is he actually doing stuff up there? Why does everybody seem so betrayed that he's up there? When, from my understanding, Saber seems to be like this thing where he's looking for a new home for the Skrulls, and they should be happy that he's up there trying to do this work for them. And another thing that's bothering me is they're so mad that he hasn't found them a new planet. Why don't they create a new civilization like New Asgard? Because apparently New Asgard is something that's on Earth that everybody seems to be A-okay with. There's aliens walking among people. In She-Hulk, they literally show like Asgardians are all across the world doing whatever. They're being immigrants. They're treating them like regular people. And I don't understand why that's a thing that's happening on one side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then on this side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Skrulls are deciding they need to destroy the entire planet so that they can take over. And it's said that there's about 1 million of them. There are 7 billion people on this planet, and there's still plenty of like unmarked territory and unclaimed territory where they can totally go move to. And I understand why they probably wouldn't want to, but the big thing is they can live in nuclear wastelands. There's literally multiple big cities that have been bombed that they could probably go live in and they'd be totally fine. And like the fact that Nick Fury hasn't done anything to try to like find them in place on Earth is kind of annoying me. It kind of seems like a big plot hole. It kind of seems like something they should be fixing, in my opinion. And it really bothers me that that hasn't been addressed. Like, they could have one line of dialogue which would explain why they haven't done that, but they haven't yet. And that's something that's really bothering me. And then another thing that's really bothering me about it is they are doing a great job with the dialogue. They've answered the question as to why are the Avengers not going to be in this and why are the Avengers not being called. That's great. That's cool. That's nice. But there's so many other little knick-knack things like that that's really bothering me. For one, as a Skrull, you can shapeshift to being your regular go-to human person who you're impersonating, or you can go to being another random person. You can switch back and forth between a bunch of different random people, and they're not really doing a great job of doing that, and it's something that's really bothering me, because in a scene where, like, Gaia needs to pretend to escape or whatever, right? At the end of the episode, she's trying to escape. Why is she staying in her regular human form? Why doesn't she change into looking like somebody else? So that way, when she gets away, if she runs into somebody, they're not going to be like, Gaia, what are you doing here? Like, there's so much wasted potential with the Skrulls right now, I feel, and it's really bothering me. Like, that scene where a room full of people all turn into Gravits, I really wish that they use that a little bit more to set up the fact that any of those Skrulls could actually be the real Gravits, and we don't know who this Talos is currently talking to. Like, that could be just a random guy. And something that I think would have been really interesting is while they're having that conversation, switching to another shot where Kingsley Ben-Adir isn't even actually there, right? Like Kravitz isn't actually there. He's smarter than to just go into a room alone with him. Don't get me wrong. I think that the big reveal that he's already turned himself into a Super Skrull is pretty cool. It's kind of like when in episode 4 of the Falcon and Winter Soldier, John Walker becomes he takes the Super Soldier Serum, and it's kind of like oh my god, whoa, he did that. But at the same time, it's not that big of a reveal. I will say this: I do like how much bloodier and darker they're going with the violence on this show. Because the scene where he stabs him in the hand, and then he just kind of like pulls his hand out and lets his hand get cut in half, was pretty cool. I really liked it. But like at the same time, there hasn't been a lot of action sequences in the show. I really want to know when that's gonna come up because right now it makes no sense to me. How is Nick Fury supposed to hold his own against Super Skrulls? That doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't seem like something that's gonna happen very well. And I really feel like there needs to be kind of a scene or something that comes up in one of the next 2 episodes that set up the fact that Nick Fury isn't really alone and he has like his own team of Skrulls who are willing to fight beside him. Because as of right now, it seems like Gravitz has an army of like 1,000,000 Skrulls, probably only like, a couple thousand that are actually willing to fight, versus it seems like it's just giving Nick Fury and Talos. And I don't understand why they're not trying to build something more than that, because Gravitz could easily kick both of their asses if he wants to. And Gravitz seems to have a general idea of how to kind of take over the world, because he seems like he's just going to start World War III. And another thing is, why hasn't he started World War III yet? Like, there's so many things he could have done by now that would have better sparked World War III, and it seems like he's just hesitating, which doesn't make sense because as a villain, they've kind of revealed the fact that he doesn't back down, he doesn't hesitate, he doesn't mess around, but like he's been messing around. I don't know. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents. I think that some of the pacing stuff with this show is not as great as it could be, and it's throwing me off a little bit. Another thing that's throwing me off a little bit, some of the scenes with Nick Fury in this most recent episode kind of seem like he's not Nick Fury. And I've seen theories going around that there are multiple people pretending to be Nick Fury right now, and I think that that's great, but at the same time, I'm so confused about when they switch out, because here's the thing. Nick Fury and Talos, their interactions all throughout this episode kind of seem a little more than just friends, and that could be because that's not actually Nick Fury, that's Soren pretending to be Nick Fury, which is totally a plausible thing that could totally be happening. But at the same time, some of their like arguments and conversations that they're having doesn't seem like something that, I don't know, the way that he's personally reacting to some of these things that he's saying doesn't seem like something that Soren would just quickly be able to do. I don't know. I'm all over the place with this show right now, and it's throwing me off so much. I also do want to go ahead and say firmly, I believe Rhodey is not a Skrull. I believe he's just a dick. No, but that's gonna be my thumbnail. He's not a Skrull. I don't think he's a Skrull. Until we see him turn green, I don't think he's a Skrull. But that being said, his phone on his voice and the call at the end of the show kind of gives off the vibes that he might be a Skrull. Another thing, the fact that they're faking out Gaia's death in this episode kind of drives me insane, because in my opinion that death was way more shocking to me than Maria Hill's, and I thought that it was a little bit more emotionally impacting. And then after like rewatching it again and watching a couple videos of people talking about it, everybody being like, she's actually going to be alive because she's in later episodes and whatever and this and that, and there's so many scenes that are in the trailers where we haven't seen yet, and I'm like, fuck, they kind of have a good point, because what's it called? Typically speaking, I'd be like, they probably just have fake scenes in the trailers, and this would definitely be the kind of show where they would put fake scenes in the trailers, but at the same time, there's a lot of fake scenes, so I have no idea what's happening with that. Personally, I think it would be a lot more interesting if she actually is fully dead, and, I don't know, she didn't seem like a good spy, so her being dead makes sense to me. Like, she should be dead. But that being said, she probably got turned into a Super Skrull, so at the end of the show, it's probably going to be a fight between her and Gravitz, where they're both the Super Skrulls or whatever, and then, Nick Fury and Talos fighting a bunch of regular Skrulls. I don't know. I feel like it's not going to be as interesting. I really hope that the next episode really turns around, though. Marvel to Disney Plus shows kind of has the things with their 4th episode being just absolutely batshit crazy and just incredible, because Moon Knight, Mark and Steven literally die in episode 4. Loki, that's when Loki also dies in episode 4, but that's when they cut off the Timekeeper's head and then realize, oh shit, it's all fake. It's been fake the entire time. What is happening? And it's like absolutely crazy. We watched what's it called? Mobius die, and we watched, like I said, Loki die. A couple crazy things which are a little like, okay, wow, they're taking these swings right now. Episode 4, I believe, in Captain America Winter Soldier, not what? The Falcon and Winter Soldier, that's the episode where Wyatt Russell's John Walker kills somebody with the shield, I believe. So like there's been a lot of crazy things happening in the 4th episodes of Disney Plus shows. So I'm hoping that that trend keeps up and that this 4th episode is absolutely crazy and it completely makes me shut up about how slow paced this show is right now. But as of right now, like I said earlier, there's a bunch of cards on the table, but they're all face down, and I feel like there should be a couple that should be up by now. Like, they're introducing a couple new characters who we still don't know what their deal is. Like, Nick Fury's wife, no idea what her deal is. Olivia Colman's character, I'm absolutely loving her, and every time I see her, I'm like, oh my god, this girl is amazing. Like, she's so funny and captivating. But, once again, no idea what her deal is. So, hopefully, they kind of fill us in on a little bit of these gaps. And my main concern is I really wanted Clark Gregg to show up as Phil Coulson in this. And at this point in the show, I feel like you'd be shoving too much stuff into the final 2 episodes if you introduce him in it. Same thing with like Quake. All of the what's it called? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans who really wanted to see Quake in this. Got a feeling if she shows up now, it's kind of gonna feel cheap a little bit. Yeah, I'm enjoying the show. I think it's great. I definitely think that there's a lot of stuff to enjoy about it, but kind of bothers me that there's a lot of stuff that hasn't been done yet. So, that being said, that's it for this video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Bow. Bow. Bow.